Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Vision Pros Live. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Today, looking forward to a conversation with Mr. Tony Schmaltz. He is the upgrade coach. Love that concept. He has a podcast also by the same name and a book, which is called Wake the Bleep Up. And I want to introduce you now to Tony Schmaltz. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Fletcher. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Hey, like I mentioned before, I like to start off with something that feels good. That's what I do in my coaching curriculum. It's called the practice of feeling good. So share something with our audience. What's going well in your life professionally and or personally?
Well, I am actually just about finished with my second book, and I've got that. I got a little pre-made draft just so I could have a hard copy to show people. But The Hitchhiker's Guide to Leadership is the next book coming out. So that's about done. And then I've got a flagship course that's also just about done. Those are both just flying right through, and those are huge wins right now.
Oh, congratulations. That's a big deal, right? It takes a lot of time and persistence and vision to bring those out of your head and into the physical realm, right?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, cool. Well, hey, Tony, this is called Vision Pros Live. So my next question for you is, what's your vision? Cue us in.
My current vision is to help at least 10 million people upgrade their lives through the written, verbal, or visual word. So whether it's videos, books, lives, webinars, everything I do is to help 10 million people upgrade their lives.
You know, this is a concept I absolutely appreciate. The book that I wrote is called The Practice of Feeling Good, How to Upgrade Your Thinking and Live a Feel Good Life. So there's this common language that we're using, upgrade.
Yeah.
It was not an accident, I'm sure, for you to pick this word. Tell me what you mean when you say upgrade.
Well, upgrade is to bring yourself up from where you are now. So wherever you're at now, let's take it up a notch or notches and make you even better. And like you said, I love the mindset, the upgrade mindset part, because every part of my upgrade your life principles are to upgrade your mindset, your leadership, your self-talk, your self-belief. I mean, a little bit of everything. And a lot of people, they forget about the self part of it. You know, they forget about the self-belief and the self-talk and will beat themselves up. And even though they're trying to speak positive into the world, hey, it starts right here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we live in a world that's largely technological. Mm-hmm. We're constantly upgrading phones, watches, right? We're upgrading our laptops. We're upgrading our currencies. What does it mean to you to upgrade? Like, give me an example of where we might upgrade a very specific area of our life, and how does that look? What are some of the technologies or the methodologies, that you would use in order to do that?
Well, one of the biggest things that I work with people on upgrading first is what I call the power of language. And that's not only the power of language as how you speak to others, but also how you speak to yourself. And so a lot of times, like I was just saying earlier, we tend to beat ourselves up. We are our own worst enemies. And when you're so worried about beating yourself up, then you're just keeping yourself down instead of bringing yourself up to the next level. So when you start talking more positive about yourself, and I work on that through some declarations, some affirmations. I don't really call them that, but that's what people recognize. Sure. So, but when you start speaking that to yourself when you're in the mirror or out loud, and you start creating yourself to be the person that you were meant to be, you know, start creating that. You're like, oh, it's like fake it till you make it. No, it's not. You're creating yourself to be that person. Mm-hmm. And when you start through that power of language, when you start creating yourself to be that person, then you can help create other people that way with the language that you're using towards them.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. I was having a conversation about this just the other day, and what I really want our audience to hear is this key thing you're saying. And I'm going to summarize a little bit, but you just tell me if I'm on the right track. We use language to create our outcomes. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Now, some people listening to this and may not be familiar with that concept, are like, what are you talking about? We use action to create outcomes. Mm-hmm. We use action to get things done. help us understand a little bit about how we actually use language to create.
Great question. Great question. Well, one of the things that a lot of people can do is start acknowledging little things, and acknowledging things, whether it's with somebody else or with yourself. For example, in the world today, generally speaking, a person can do 99 out of 100 things right, but the one thing they hear about is the one thing they did wrong. So when we start acknowledging some of those 99 other things, especially for ourselves, then that's going to help you start creating yourself as a better person. One of the things that I have a lot of my clients do, and that I do myself, is I keep a four square journal at night. And the first section of that 4 squares is acknowledgments. And it's acknowledging everything that you did for the day. And when I say that, I'm talking about even the things most people take for granted. Like, hey, I went to the grocery store. I did 2 loads of laundry. I picked the kids up from school. I did the dishes. I also made 10 sales calls. But we forget about those dishes. We forget those are all things that take time and that we day in, day out take for granted. And when you make a list of that stuff, first of all, every day they're going to get bigger because you're going to realize you forgot stuff. But then you look at that list and you're like, wow, I really did a lot today. I want to do more tomorrow. And so you start creating back to creation. You start creating that inspiration and that motivation within yourself. People are like, how do I get motivated? Well, look at what you've done already, and that's going to motivate you to do more tomorrow.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is we create a sense of motivation and or inspiration through language, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would even go so far to say as we create pretty much everything through language. At some point, nobody had ever been to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And then a group of people got together and they spoke into the physical realm the sentence that said, we are going to the moon. Mm-hmm. They didn't know how. They didn't have a plan. The technology didn't exist. And then from that declaration, they used language to create everything necessary to get a person to the moon and back.
Right. And go ahead.
And I was just going to say, I remember reading about Helen Keller in one of the books that she wrote. She said before she had language, there was chaos in her experience of the world was chaos.
I can imagine.
There was no form. There was no order. As soon as she got language, she began creating order out of chaos and went on to create an incredible life. She was even a vaudeville performer. She could not see, speak, hear, and yet here she was on stage performing. She was an activist, right? She went to college and graduated. Phenomenal. Language allowed her to create her experiences.
Well, there's a big distinction here. Like even your moon example, this certainty that it was in that declaration you made, we are going to the moon. That's different than somebody saying, we might go to the moon, or we're going to try to go to the moon. No, you said we are going to the moon. That's like, I will create $10,000 next month, or I will be the best husband in the world next month, or I will be in, that level of certainty and that language. Like you said, how we speak into our world is what creates our world. Yeah. And it's so true. And it's also the way you use that language. So I love to bring Yoda into it, because this is one that I use with my coaching friends and my clients all the time is it's do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah.
Eliminate that word try, because it's uncertainty. You do or you do not. As soon as you start bringing in that word try, you're giving yourself an out. You're giving yourself a cop-out statement. And so that's something that I actively work on keeping out of my language.
Boy, to our audience out here, I really hope you just paid attention to what Tony just said. What he's saying is that you can speak certainty into existence. Mm-hmm. And I also want to encourage our audience to hear this. Consider that you may be extremely practiced at speaking uncertainty into your life. You may be extremely practiced at speaking self-doubt into your life, self-criticism, judgment of others. I'll speak for myself. I used to be masterful at all of that.
Yep.
Masterful, right?
Yep.
And then I wondered why nothing went my way. Okay. When I got cued into the power of language, everything in my life began to change financially, relationally, spiritually, physically, in my health. Language matters, right?
It does. It does. And you'll start to see, back to what you said with the relationships, you'll start to see the difference in how people react to you or act around you. These people that used to be the negative Nellies in your world, either they're no longer in your world or they've changed. You're like, wow, what happened to Tony? What happened to Fletcher? Look at this guy. I don't want to speak like that anymore. Now I'm gonna, he's bringing me up, and I want to be like that. And it
Yeah.
just changes. It rubs off on other
Yeah,
people around you.
absolutely. Another question for you.
Yeah.
You're giving your life to this endeavor of helping people upgrade
Yeah.
their experience of life. Why is this important to you?
Wow. It's important to me because I've, like you, I've been in those dumps. I've been down there where everything that came out of my mouth was negative. I used to wear the victim card around my neck and just like blame everybody and everything for everything and everyone about everything that was happening or not happening in my world. It wasn't until we actually moved from Washington State to Florida that I kind of got that kind of wake up call. I'd always done well in the corporate world and worked my way up from the bottom. And I was known as a positive leader, but my self-talk was garbage. And we got to Florida. The 2 months after we got to Florida, we moved to Panama City first. Hurricane Michael came through, Category 5, leveled the whole area. We rode it out. Worst thing we've ever experienced. And it was shortly thereafter, a friend of a friend recommended I hire this coach. And so I did. It was first coach I ever hired. And I was like, light bulb went off. I was like, what have I been doing? And so after working with that coach for, I think it was 4 or 5 months, I'm like, this is what I need to be helping others with. If this guy's helping me level up, I need to help others level up just like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tried to do it in the corporate world, but then in the corporate world, they're like, no, you can't do it unless you do it our way or this way. And I'm like, okay, so you're not going to let me really help people upgrade. So, all right, I'm going to go out and do this on my own.
Right on. And so now you're doing it the Tony Schmaltz way, right?
That's right. That's right. Everyone calls me Schmaltzy. That's the Schmaltzy way.
the Schmaltzy way. I like that. And Tony, you've got your podcast, you've got your books, are doing your speaking.
Yeah.
You're really going for it all. If someone's listening to this and they're like, you know what? I'm really interested in what he's saying. Like maybe their dimmer bulb is kind of going on as well, right? What's the best way to reach out to you and either find a book or watch some of your videos or just connect with you directly?
Yeah, the best way is to go to my website, and that is TonySchmaltz.com. And that has links to everything. And there's free videos on there, free content, and links to all my socials where I have lots of more videos and lots of more content, links to the book and the upcoming book. So right there is the easiest, most central place. That's my central hub that spawns out to everything else.
All right. And that's TonySchmaltz.com.
That is.
All right. So yeah, if you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, maybe it's time to upgrade my thinking. Maybe it's time to upgrade my financial life, my marriage, my relationship to self. Yeah, check this out. There's a lot of coaches in the world today, and there's good reason for it.
Yes.
Right. There's a lot of suffering going on, and there is a lot of uncertainty.
Yes.
More uncertainty than I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Right.
Right. Especially in our country. And what's the value of working with a coach?
So the value, to your point, the value is to remove some of that uncertainty, because that uncertainty is what you're being fed by everything around you, whether it's the TV, social media, your friends, your family, the news. They're feeding you that negative garbage and that uncertainty. And when you work with a coach, you become certain about who you are and who you want to be. You remove all that crap out of off your surface and get to the inside and learn who this person is really on the inside. I had to learn I had to figure out who Tony Schmaltz was on the inside, and everybody else needs to also. And when you can get rid of that uncertain garbage that you're wearing around like a coat every day,
yeah,
and find yourself, that's most people can't do that on their own. That's where a good coach comes in handy.
Right. And you know, if you're a human being, you have at least at some point in your life really asked that question, like, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people spend a lot of their life actually considering that. A lot of people, you know, are of the opinion of, like, I need to go find myself. I need to go discover who I am. I need to travel to India and sit underneath the Bodhi tree and, you know, look for seek enlightenment. What I want people to hear is it's way more simple than that. Yeah. It doesn't have to be this massive endeavor to discover or declare who you are.
That's right.
But it does take intention.
Yep.
It does take accountability, right? And I think that's one of the things also in the coaching space. Like, that's what a good coach will do. It's going to hold you to account, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. What about the need and the value of accountability?
So I'm glad you brought that up, and it's something I probably should have mentioned before. But you're right. The accountability is the biggest piece, because so many people can go out there and read a self-help book, but then not take any action. They're not going to do anything with it. Oh yeah, it sounded good. I could do that. I might do that next week, or I might do that next month. And then might turns into never, you know, but when you hire a coach, you're going to have actions that are assigned to you each week. And then that coach the next week, like one of the first things I do with a client in the following week is, okay, let's hear a report. How'd you do last week? Here's the 3 things you were going to do. How'd you do?
Yeah.
And then we talk about those. And if they didn't get there, okay, cool. What was more important? Or how can we make this adjustment next time?
Yeah.
And that's huge, because most people, even in people's jobs, you typically don't have that level of accountability. You're living with your blinders on, doing the same thing every day over and over. And unless it's right in front of you, you're not hearing about it. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. The accountability is huge.
Yeah. And I think when we learn self-accountability at that next upgraded level, I mean, people really begin to see significant changes.
Oh, huge changes, especially when people can start to learn how to get out of their comfort zones, you know, start taking a little action. There's tasks. One of the things I assign to clients every week on top of the actions is I call them Schmaltzy tasks. And these are literally designed to get you out of your comfort zone. And not dangerously so or anything. I'm not telling you to go, you know, skydiving or anything. But like one of them that I always share this one on the podcast, because I don't want to give away my list. But one of the ones I always share with people is I say, okay, next time you go to the grocery store or a department store or something like that, I want you to walk up to 5 random people and just whisper in their ear, I am Batman. Because you're going to get the funniest look, the weirdest look. They're going to look at you funny, and it forces you to be uncomfortable. And then you can go, yes, or what are you, however you respond is up to you. But the fact that you did that 5 times, got you out of your comfort zone. And then you're like, I've had people tell me at the first 1 or 2, God, it was super, by the 5th one, I wanted to keep going.
Right on. Yeah. It can feel terrifying and exciting and elating to get out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That's cool. So if you are looking to work with Tony, expect to get out of your comfort zone. Expect to have a high level of account. Expect to see transformation in the area of life that you want to. This is the power of getting coaching. Boy, I went so long without getting actual coaching. I was a big reader in self-development, listened to tapes and everything. And that made an impact. I'm not going to diminish that. That made a massive impact in all the areas of my life. But when I actually hired a coach, it was different. Why? Because I was investing big time in myself.
Right.
And most people simply don't do that. We'll invest in Netflix. We'll invest in, our cars. We'll invest in our house. We'll invest in food and vacation. But investing in us is, for me, the best ROI that I've ever gotten.
100%. The best. I have, ever since that first coach I was talking about, that was back in 2019. I have always had a coach, if not more than one coach, and I will never stop.
Yeah, right on. Tony, what a pleasure to meet you today. Again, I want to invite our listeners to visit you at TonySchmaltz.com. Get schmaltzy and get out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like us to hear before we sign off here?
Yeah, well, for anyone out there listening, just make sure you don't let anyone else tell you who you are, who you're supposed to be. This is your life. You live it. You can decide who you are and who you want to be. So if anyone tries to tell you that you're not good enough, or you're not this, without telling them to shut up, you just don't listen and go on and figure it out for yourself, and hire a coach because they can help you get there faster.
Right on, right on. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And now it's time for you to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.